Former announcer Howard Finkel passed away yesterday at the age of 69.
He was the first ever WWE employee, the voice that defined generations of wrestling fans. But what happened to Howard Finkel in his later years? Why did he fade from the spotlight? Today, we're going beyond the ring announcements and delving into the life of the Fink, his health struggles, his backstage impact, and the legacy he left behind. Trust me, there's more to this story than you might think. Our dear Howard was born on June 7th, 1950 in Newark, New Jersey. Growing up in a Jewish family, he probably had no idea that one day he'd become one of the most iconic voices in wrestling. But fate had a different plan for him. In 1975, he joined the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, back when it was run by Vince McMahon Sr. Just a couple of years later, Howard found himself as the ring announcer at the legendary Madison Square Garden. And from there, things took off. Fans quickly came to love his booming voice, the way he announced each match with such passion. It was like he brought the energy of the entire arena to life. But Howard wasn't just a voice. He was family to WWE. He was a man who brought a touch of class and gravitas to the world of professional wrestling. But behind the booming introductions and legendary calls, there's a lesser-known story, a story of health struggles and quiet dignity during his final years. For decades, Howard Finkel was synonymous with WWE. From the early days of the WWF to the Attitude Era and beyond, his voice was the soundtrack to countless legendary moments. He was more than just a ring announcer. He was a beloved figure, respected by fans and wrestlers alike. But as the years went by, Finkel's appearances became less frequent. He started taking on a more behind-the-scenes role, his once obvious presence fading into the background. Many fans wondered what had happened to their beloved Fink. The truth is, Howard Finkel was facing health challenges. In February 2019, Howard suffered a stroke, and it was a huge blow to his health. This wasn't just a minor setback, it really affected his life. After the stroke, he was seen in a wheelchair, and fans started to realize just how serious things were getting for him. Seeing Howard, who had always been so vibrant, now dealing with these struggles was heartbreaking for a lot of people who grew up hearing his voice. By this time, Howard's health was serious enough that he needed extra support. Bruce Pritchard, who's a longtime WWE guy and has his own podcast called Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, mentioned that Howard had moved into an assisted living facility. That news hit hard for fans because it showed just how much his health had declined. Howard wasn't just dealing with minor issues, he needed full-time care. For so many years, he had been the guy bringing all this energy to WWE events, and now he was in assisted living. That was tough for fans to wrap their heads around, but it also made them appreciate just how much Howard had given to the industry, even as his health started to fail. Then came the sad news in April 2020. Howard passed away at the age of 69. WWE and his family chose not to share the specific details of his passing, which is understandable. They wanted to keep things private. But given his previous stroke and overall health challenges, many believe that those issues played a role. When the news broke, the wrestling community responded with an outpouring of love and tributes. Wrestlers, announcers, fans, everyone shared memories of Howard and how much he had meant to them. Losing him was a huge loss for WWE and for wrestling fans everywhere. Even though Howard's health kept him away in his later years, his legacy in WWE is solid. He was the very first WWE employee, which tells you something right there. Howard announced some of the most legendary moments in WWE history, and he did it with a passion and professionalism that made every match feel like an epic moment. Every time he stepped into that ring with his microphone, he brought excitement and authenticity. Younger announcers in WWE still look up to him, and wrestlers remember him as not just a great announcer, but as a genuinely kind and supportive person. Howard was always there to cheer them on, hype them up, and make their moments in the ring feel special. Although he's gone, his legacy is still alive, gentlemen. But before we get anywhere close to discussing it, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Howard Finkel had a way with words that made every match feel epic. His signature move, emphasizing the word new whenever a title changed hands. It was his way of drawing the fans into the excitement. Not only was he an announcer, but Finkel also had a knack for creativity. He's the one who came up with Ricky Steamboat's Dragon nickname, which added a whole new layer to Steamboat's character. Howard's love for wrestling history made him invaluable to WWE beyond just announcing. He became part of the creative team and talent relations, and in 1987, after 10 years of announcing at Madison Square Garden, he was honored with a special plaque by fellow announcer Gene Okerlund. One of Finkel's most unforgettable moments came at WrestleMania 9 in 1993 when he was introduced in a Roman toga as Fincus Maximus, a hilarious yet iconic moment that fans still talk about today. Every now and then, he got pulled into some pretty wild storylines. One of the earliest was back in 1990 when he took a bribe from the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. DiBiase wanted revenge on Kerry Von Erich for attacking him, so he paid Finkel to let him be the guest announcer for Von Erich's match against Kurt Hennig. DiBiase didn't stop at announcing. He jumped in, hit Von Erich with the championship belt, and helped Hennig win the Intercontinental title. Then in 1992, Finkel found himself in a funny feud with manager Dr. Harvey Whippleman, who constantly teased him about his looks and announcing style. Things heated up when Finkel shoved Whippleman, leading to an ambush by Whippleman and his allies, Kamala and Kim Chi. This back and forth went on until WrestleMania X, when Whippleman humiliated Finkel by ripping part of his tuxedo. Finkel finally fought back, shoving Whippleman to the ground, and even got caught up in Earthquake's match with Adam Bomb. It all came to a head in 1995 when Finkel and Whippleman had a tuxedo match on the Monday Night Raw, where Finkel came out victorious by stripping Whippleman down to his underwear. In one of his last storylines, Finkel clashed with Lillian Garcia on Raw in 2002 over who would be the main announcer. This feud led to a funny tuxedo match where Garcia, with help from Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler, defeated Finkel. It was a memorable and quirky way for the Fink to leave his mark on WWE storylines, proving he could take a punch or a joke just as well as he could announce. In his later career, Finkel would make occasional special appearances on WWE TV. He lent his voice to WWE's online content and was even the announcer on Bob Barker's memorable Price is Right segment on Raw in 2009. And in 2011, he had one of his proudest moments, announcing at WrestleMania 30 in front of over 93,000 fans, a highlight he would later call his most defining career moment. Finkel continued to make guest appearances for special events. He was the announcer for CM Punk's championship match at Survivor Series in 2011, and he returned as a special announcer on the 1000th episode of Raw in 2012. In 2014, he even starred in WWE's reality show, Legends House, which gave fans a rare look at the man behind the microphone. Although his live appearances became rare, Finkel's voice continued to be used in WWE events. In 2020, during a match between Edge and Randy Orton at Backlash, the WWE played a recording of Finkel introducing the combatants, showing just how timeless his voice had become. Over the years, Finkel stayed with WWE, working in backstage roles and keeping his passion for wrestling alive, even when he wasn't in the ring. Howard Finkel's story is truly one of a kind. From his early days in Newark, New Jersey, to becoming one of WWE's most beloved voices, Howard lived a life that most wrestling fans could only dream of. He brought heart and energy to every single announcement, making each match feel like a grand spectacle. Behind the scenes, he was a friend, a mentor, and a historian who helped shape the creative direction of WWE. Howard's signature calls, his famous emphasis on new champion announcements, and his involvement in memorable storylines left a lasting impact that fans and wrestlers will cherish forever. In his later years, as he faced health challenges, Howard's courage and quiet dignity reminded everyone just how much he had given to the world of wrestling. His passing in 2020 was felt deeply across the wrestling community, but his legacy lives on. Younger announcers continue to look up to him, and fans still replay his unforgettable moments in WWE history. Howard Finkel may no longer be with us, but his voice and spirit remain forever embedded in WWE's legacy. If you enjoyed this tribute to the Fink, please remember to like this video, share your favorite Howard Finkel memories in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more content celebrating wrestling's legends. Thank you for watching.